Hello, it's me, and we're going to move on to how to solve this 5x5 by 5 Supercube. To which you're probably thinking, well, there's really good tutorials on how to solve these 5x5 Supercubes. Just scrambled a little bit more here. And the reason that I'm doing this is I'd like to once again go through the layer by layer method. What I also want to do is show my way of kind of dealing with the last two centers. The rest is pretty similar to other things that you may have seen, but we'll see how it goes. Start off with the green side, and you know, like what you've seen before, start off by getting the middles in and the edges. This you can do pretty intuitively. Okay, so here's starting off with the first layer that's solved. So we'll start off with the red side. Now you could do it in ways that you've seen in the past, where you start off with loading up the middles here. So here's a red and white. We'll put the red and white here, and then we'll look at the red and yellow, which happens to be right here. So that's filled up, and then you start building in these 1x3 cubes. Now the problem with this technique is there's a lot of hunting around that you're doing, which can be kind of frustrating. As you're looking for another green and red, and there's a green and red over here, then you got to move it over here, turn a 90 degrees or so, and then put it into place, and bang, and zoom. Alright, so there's this part, and you want to move it in. Well, in this case you don't have to move it opposite because there's nothing that you're messing up. This goes in here. Then we can do the blue and red. The way that I like to do it is kind of the way that I start filling in the last couple centers of the normal 5x5 cubes. So all I have to do is, instead of filling these in, just find one red one. Here's like one over here. This goes in the middle. This is going to be fairly easy, so that's here. Now notice I didn't fill these in yet. I'm actually going to do that now with this technique. So here's the red, yellow, and blue. So that's going to be over here. That has to come over here. So I'm just going to move this into position so that when I move it down, it's going to be where it needs to be here. The way that I do this is you move it down and create the side that you want. You then isolate that side, take it out of the picture by rotating it 90 degrees, moving it down. So now it can't hurt anybody. But now you got to move it. You got to move this back. So you want to rotate it back 90 degrees. And put this back into place. So that's where it needs to be. Then rotate this back 90 degrees and put this back into place. Now that sounded a little convoluted, but it actually makes a lot of intuitive sense. So I'm going to look for the other red, and it's right here. So I'm just going to move that so that it's closer here. And same thing. I'm going to move it in place here. This is going to come down here. So I'm going to put it in here, rotate it, take it out, and by putting it in, I put this down. So I'm going to turn that back, up, and then turn it back in here. So then you have it. Now to me that's a lot more convenient, and I'll show you why. Let's say I want to work on the white side here. Rather than search around and do 1x3 cubes and everything like that, I'm just going to find the first one that needs to go into place and put it into place. In this case it's easy because it's a center cube, so I'll work on my centers. This will go here. So I'll move it in, rotate, and move it out. Any other centers that are around here? There's one over here. Move it in, rotate, move it out. Now at this point I can't do that technique with the final center, so right now I'm just going to find any white cube. Here's a white cube here. This is orange and green, so where does it go? Well, here's an orange and green here. So I'm going to flip that here. So this actually is going to have to come down to here. So what I'm going to do is move it down. By moving it down, it puts this to the down area there. So move it down. Then I'm going to move it by 90 degrees. Take it out of the picture. Move it back 90 degrees. And then put back what I put down. Move back 90 degrees and up. So you can see the end result of that was putting these in place. Now somehow this actually this was never where it was supposed to be. So to put the centers in, see if I can find a center here to put in. Well, it's on the other side. I'll just move this here just to show. Okay, so let's say I want to move this center where it's supposed to be here. Now, I'm not really listing an algorithm with it because, from my perspective, I like to have certain algorithms memorized, but some of them I just like to look at it as a strategy. It's kind of like solving a puzzle. Each cube you can memorize 50 algorithms and barely figure out what you need to do, or you can do it by strategy and memorize a couple algorithms to get you out of tight spots that are just impossible to figure out intuitively. But to bring this down over here, same thing, I'm going to move this down, just move the center down so that it's where it needs to be, then move it any direction, move it out of the picture, rotate this back, move that center back up, rotate it again to pick up what you just formed. So the end result is you have this here. To me that's easier. I don't have to make sides and move it in. I can just start moving things in. So here's another center. And this is going to go over here, so same thing. Move the middle down, rotate, down, up, bring the middle back, rotate it back, bring that back up. So I'm filling those in. Here's a side to put in. This is the purple and blue. Purple and blue is going to go here, so it's going to be moving down to here. You can see matching up with this. So this is going to come down here and form on the side that we want. Rotate it, move it out of the picture, rotate it back, bring back what you rotated down to begin with. This comes around again to pick this back up. Alright, so I just keep, for me that's easier to just keep building sides. You can see this isn't in the right place, but that's okay. We're going to replace it with the one that is in the right place. Whoa, radical close-up. So here's the white, green, and purple. Green and purple is here. So I'm actually going to substitute this with this for this rather. And same thing. Bring it down so that you create the side that you need. Because I brought it down from here, I'm going to move it 90 degrees, take it out of the picture, rotate it back, bring back up what I originally put down, then rotate it to pick that side back up again. So you can see I'm slowly building my side. Now I just have this one to go. Now I'm moving slowly with this, but once you get a knack for it, you can build these centers pretty quickly. This has to go here, so boom, boom, bang, bang, boom, bang, bang. You just have to kind of not lose your concentration. So let's see how quickly we can get this side over here using this technique. Well, here's a center. Centers are easy. Just move it in, down, back. Here's another center. I'll just move these into position here. Now again, I'm just showing this as an alternative. You can do it the way that you've learned it from other tutorials if it's easier for you. But once you build a knack for this, it actually is for me preferred. Here's another center, but are we done? No, we can still put these centers in. Kerplop, smash. Okay, so we've got our so we've got all the centers that we can get in without ruining it, and now we just find purples anywhere and just start loading them in. Here's a white and purple, so I'm just going to put it here. In this case, I'm going to be moving center down, rotate down, bring it up, put the center back, rotate it back, bring it up. All of our centers are where they need to be. Let's just find any other side, blue and yellow. So we've got blue and yellow here. I'll move this here. Bang, bang, zoom, bang, pow, kerplop, kablam. Alright, find a purple. Here's a green and white. Green and white. See, and as I'm doing this, I'm not really touching these other centers that I formed. Find another purple, blue and white. And if you mess up every so often, that's okay. It's easily to get back. It's easily retrieved. All right, now I just have one more, and I just keep spinning things into place. All right, so there's my other center. Make sure we're lined up. Not that it matters at this point, but why not? So now we're down to the dreaded last two centers.